The United Arab Emirates is one of the Gulf countries with the highest number of expatriates. According to reports published by National Bureau of Statistics in 2011, expatriates make up around 88.5% of the country's population. This figure also shows that many children are brought up outside their native culture. Such kids are called third culture kids. This report will further discuss the experiences of few third culture kids based in the UAE. Lina Nasser, who was born and raised in Canada, moved to the UAE at the age of 13. She is originally from Palestine, and here she talks about how was her experience when she first moved.
Well, when I first came here, I got that question asked, where are you from? Which is a really big question in Arab countries. It's usually like the second thing they ask. And I always said, oh, I'm Canadian. And then a lot of times I would get that look like, no, you're not. You're obviously Arab. You don't count as a real Canadian. I even actually had somebody say that Canadians were people that were like of European descent, like blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and I did not understand that at all. But now, I mean, it's gotten to a point where I just don't like getting those looks, so I usually say I'm a Palestinian, oh, but I was raised in Canada. I just avoid saying Canadian completely. And yeah, I really don't like that. I want to say that I'm both, that I'm Palestinian Canadian, because just choosing one or the other kind of feels like erasing my identity.
Miral Elias is a university student who was raised in the UAE. She has spent most of her childhood away from her home country, Syria, and she comments on how she feels about it.
I was born in Syria, and we moved here to Fujairah in the United Arab Emirates, but I don't really remember when I moved here exactly. But I grew up here, and I was surrounded by friends from the start, and I saw how most of them, they were like from Syria, from Egypt, from other countries, and they came over here and they were staying here. And so it wasn't really that much of a difference. Like, I didn't feel like I didn't fit in. But now it has been 5 or 6 years that we haven't gone back to Syria. So, and especially with the use of social media, I see the friends and family we used to hang out with, I see how they're together and they're enjoying themselves. And now I think to myself that, oh, if I went at this moment, I might not fit in. And so that's like, I'm starting to feel like a third culture kid somehow.
On the other hand, Mehtab Malik, who was also brought up in the UAE, talks about how it was hard for her to juggle between two different cultures.
I was born and brought up in the UAE. My parents are originally from India. I don't know how true it is if I say the same, because they did raise me how a typical South Asian parent would raise their child. But, you know, when you go back to your own place, you see there are a lot of differences. And then when you come here, there are a lot of differences. And I didn't realize this as a child. But when I grew up, I realized that I don't exactly belong anywhere. And I'm 20 years old now, and I'm a person of my own, and there are a lot of things that influences me and my identity. My parents' background, their culture, and the culture here, and it's just get a lot messier, and it's just a mixture of these things. But I do believe who I am as a person, it will help our world, because it is bringing two cultures which are clashing, when you think about it, together. And it would help people from different culture to understand their other's culture better.
Being a third culture kid is a multifaceted life, where each day you have to struggle to belong to at least two different cultures at the same time. But it has its own benefits, such as bringing different cultures together from across the world.